you with a Rescue Owners Live. My name is Kirk Mote. I'm the founder of Rescue Site Services, and I'm here with Will. Can you mispronounce your last name?
Figueroa.
Figueroa.
Will Figueroa.
It's not spelled like it sounds.
No.
So before we get into introductions, I do want to, make it a point here. June 1st through 7th each year is National CPR and AED Awareness Week, spotlighting how lives can be saved if more Americans know CPR and how to use an AED. And that's the audience that we're talking to here today is CPR instructors. I think we have some firearms instructors on here. So like instructors in general when it comes to safety.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to give us kind of like the 5-10 minute version of your origin story, who you are, what you do, why you do it.
Yeah, before I even get into that, first of all, thank you for even having me on like the pilot episode or the premiere. You know what I mean? It's just fantastic.
Inaugural.
Yeah, the inaugural.
I heard that was a cool word.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. And then secondly, I really want to call this out, right? June 1st to June 7th, National CPR and AED Awareness Week. I know your origin story. I love where you're coming from with this. I love the business that you've built from it. I've definitely benefited from it myself, having an AED in the building, seeing it used on the spot, something that's definitely affected my life. And it's really important for people to learn. It's really important for people to even just be aware of where it is. Because even if you don't, the instructions around there is very easy to, with good training, understanding what to do, when to do it, how to do it is so key. And I love that there's just an entire, this week, National CPR and AED Awareness Week. I think we've all somehow been affected by this. And I think it's something that is important. It's important for us to call out. So definitely whatever you can do to prepare your business, prepare yourself, prepare your family, right? To get that technology, to get that training, so that God forbid something does happen, you can be the angel that could save someone's life. You know what I mean?
I love that.
In any event, who am I? I'm Will Figueroa. I'm the founder of a company called Purple Circle. And the elevator pitch is that we simplify systems in order for you to make money faster. We're a revenue operations organization. And so what we basically do is we break down silos in marketing, customer service, and sales. It gets to a certain point when your business grows that we find that you have just a bunch of disparate systems. And so I've always had a love and passion for technology, that's creating things, and quite frankly, just being efficient and getting things done, compressing time, being able to leverage that time. And by the grace of God, I've been able to make a business out of it. I have an amazing partnership with HubSpot.
Congratulations, by the way, that's huge.
Yeah,
for those of you who don't know, HubSpot, where did my audio just
No, that was fantastic. Whatever that
for
was.
For those of you who don't know, repeat
the audio, whatever that audio change was fantastic.
Yeah,
so go back to that, please.
Legit, like HubSpot partnership is next level. It is not easy. I mean, you had to go through they were like looking up your.
They do a full investigation.
I mean, it is intense.
They see all of your leads. They see your business. They see. They want to ask about P&Ls. They do SWOT analysis, both personal and professional. I mean, it's the real deal. It's the real deal.
And for those of you who do not have a CRM, rather, customer relationship management tool, HubSpot is where to go. That's where 100%. We have our personal. We have a home office and we
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we use HubSpot for everything.
Yeah.
And so whenever we onboard clients, because we have a platform partnership as well, where we actually take over the sales, operations, marketing, and administration tasks for CPR instructors, so they can just focus on what they do best, which is show up, train, teach people how to save lives.
Yeah.
And then we give them the paycheck. I mean,
we love that. And at Purple Circle, one of the things that we talk about is, let us worry about the technology. You focus on what's important to you, right? So in this case, you can't get any more important than saving lives, right? And training how to save lives and being able to do that, person to person, B2B, B2C, like whatever the business case is, whatever the training scenario is, there's nothing more important than that, right? And so with Purple Circle, one of the things that we talk about is the inner circle of peace. And we do that by integrating the latest in technology. We make sure that your business processes are up, efficient. If there's anything that we can compress, we try and compress that time. There's a bunch that we do, including strategy and things like that.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives us the ability to see these different industries and help everyone be as efficient as possible. So where does the origin story come from, right? Like, where does this all come from? 9/11 happens. I'm in 8th grade, and some of us went to school with parents, and then some of us didn't. I lived in a commuter town, and so there were people who commuted into New York all the time, every day. And 9/11 happens, we all go to school, and out of nowhere, kids are just kind of being pulled out of class that day. Everyone was kind of freaking out. I don't know where you were, but I know a lot of people were freaking out day of. And if you were even remotely close to New York City, I mean, everyone was affected by someone on 9/11.
Whole world
right? Oh yeah,
was affected.
100%. In my case, though, I was lucky. My dad was just across the river in New Jersey. Mom was a stay-at-home mom, but I did not have friends who were as lucky. And something that really affected me, and the origin story starts from a local pizza shop. Local pizza shop was owned by it was mom and pop shop, but the mom worked in one of the towers, and that was devastating. And so it wasn't just a pizza shop; it was the cleaners, it was the local restaurant, there were so many other people who were affected by this, who had a significant other who worked either in the towers or near the towers in the financial district there. And over the next few weeks, very, very quickly. I mean, they tried to honor the mom as best as they could, and I think they did a really, really good job in doing so. However, when the mom left, when the mom had passed away, she remembered the birthdays. She remembered that this business did this on this day, and they ordered 50 pies. So she knew every June, let's make sure that we have 50 pies ready, right? So, because the mom had passed away, the pizza shop went under. They tried to rebrand. They rebranded as New York Brothers Pizza. I don't know all the details, but what I do remember growing up I was in 8th grade when this happened. What I do remember growing up was that these shops were just dropping left and right. And I get goosebumps even talking about it now. I know that if they would have just had systems in place, technologies in place, even in 2011, we had the web 2.0 boom, and then arguably now we're in 3.0 and so on, et cetera. But even then in 2011, like, there were systems that could have been in place to save that shop, to save that pizza shop, to save that restaurant, and that's where my heart is, for sure. There's a reason why Purple Circle partners with our clientele, is because we understand the impact that they make, and we want to be able to exponentially grow that impact so that they could make a difference, so they can continue to impact people. We just happen to facilitate the technology behind that. The internal goal, I guess I'm saying it out loud, so now I'm doing it. The internal goal in our KPI within the organization is,
and for those who don't know what KPI stands for,
key performance indicator. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a key performance indicator. So something that shows that something is performing appropriately or not, right? So our KPI, our key performance indicator, in other words, we know that our business is doing a good job when we get the testimonial back, and we've already had this already, which is fantastic, where someone comes back to us in our weekly meetings with our clients and says, we had this moment where we were panicking because we had this old system and we didn't know what to do. And then we remembered we were with Purple Circle. And so we went into the dashboard and we said, thank God. And that's my KPI, is that everyone has that moment and says, thank God. We facilitate technology in order for people to have gratitude to a higher power.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I love that KPI.
Thank you.
That's huge. It really is.
Yeah.
Because how often do you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't have this in place, or oh my gosh, I did not, prepare properly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I would say, like, the majority of businesses that go out of business, if they prepared properly, they might not be in that same situation.
100%. And even to bring it back to kind of the topic at hand, right? Like, preparation is key, right? It's one thing to be trained on how to use, an AED. It's one thing to know CPR. It's another thing, like, when it happens, that it's so natural for you to go into it that you just execute accordingly, right?
You're going to respond how you train. And if you don't train, you're not going to respond, or you're not going to respond correctly,
Right,
or you're not going to respond in a timely manner.
right.
All
Exactly.
three of which are a negative outcome.
Yeah, it's hard to see, like when businesses approach us, a lot of times it's really heartbreaking because they're at a certain point, they're at that break point. Uh, uh, Whether it's that lid, we know about the lids 0 to 400,000, 400,000 to
3 million.
yeah, 3 million, 3 million to 10 to, right. These are all different lids that require a different, whether it's a different type of execution, maybe a different technology, different business process, right? So it's heartbreaking when you have, like we have a client who, is involved in like the event space, and it's heartbreaking to know that they can't keep up with their leads because they don't have the technology in place. They don't have, they're not properly prepared for being inundated with opportunities. And now that, arguably we're post-pandemic, things are kind of opening up. People are going outside again. Some places are, masks if you're vaccinated, right? So, people want to go out. People want to celebrate life. And like, that's really important, to celebrate life, to celebrate an accomplishment, to just celebrate the fact that we, that we went through 2020.
Right. Yeah. Like 2020 was a journey in and of itself.
To be able to celebrate life, and then not be able to get to all those leads because they don't have the technology in place, they don't have the business processes in place. And so we're really glad and really happy to help them facilitate that.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that. So a little bit about me. I run a medical device company called Rescue
who are
Site
you?
Services.
What is this?
Yeah, who
Why
is
are we
Kirk?
here? What are we doing?
Some people call me Captain Kirk. It's funny. Like, I made that comment on a video that I did.
Yeah.
And Captain Kirk, it gets your attention, right?
People
like
know.
You're not going to forget that.
Oh, people know.
Like if people say, hey, my name is Will.
Right.
What do you say? Wi-Fi, right?
Oh yeah, I tell everyone. I'm Wi-Fi.
So his first name is Will. So
right.
The first two letters is Y.
Last name is Figueroa, and I tell people
Wi-Fi.
My name is Wi-Fi because I help you get connected.
See, like I love that. And so like I just tell people, hey, my name is Kirk. Kirk, Kirk, like Captain Kirk. You'll never forget it, right?
Yeah,
and then they don't.
Yeah.
And the next time I see him, it's what's up, Captain Kirk?
Captain Kirk.
And then it's just like a memory tool. It's a memory tool. And if you can get out of obscurity, which is, by the way, my biggest problem, your biggest problem, everyone here is listening as a CPR instructor or whoever business owner you are, your biggest problem is getting out of this obscurity. People don't know who you are, what you do, or why you do it. And your job is to tell them. And that's part of what this show is going to be about, is showing you how to tell people who you are, what you do, why you do it.
Yeah, when you connect your passion or your belief, right? So, just by happenstance, I have Wi-Fi, right? And I help connect people. But like, if you could find something that you're in alignment with your passion, and then ultimately with what you execute against, people will always remember that, right? I forget who said it, but people will always remember how you made them feel. They may not remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And so if you could put an emotion even behind your name, they'll remember, oh, Captain Kirk, he's the guy who saves. He came in and he saved the day. And then of course, here we are. What is it that you do? Oh, he saves people. He has a rescue site. This is it. So yeah, absolutely.
So let me tell you about the save and the origin story of myself. So about 6 years ago, I had the opportunity to listen to a Holocaust survivor give her testimony.
Wow.
During that testimony, an elderly gentleman stood up, shuffled his way over to the door, collapsed, and died of a heart attack. No one knew what to do. In fact, some people were given wrong information, right? I had previously been trained in CPR, so I went to work. So I said, hey, call 911, you go get the defibrillator.
Yeah.
By the time I got the man's shirt off, and I went Hulk on the guy.
Of course.
Just ripped his shirt off.
Yeah, of course.
An off-duty nurse joined the rescue with that defibrillator. She put a pad on. I put a pad on. Long story short, after multiple breaths, compressions, and shocks, the guy lived. Best case scenario, right? So I went home that night, started reliving the scenario in my head over and over. Okay, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I do differently? And I did some research. I found out, hey, this is not an isolated incident. In fact, heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the world.
Oh, yeah.
70 to 80% of which happen at home. That's someone you know, that's someone you love. Oh, don't want to don't want to get too
Are
excited
we
further.
giving
We
away
had
the
a little
lead?
screen
Are
switch
we
there.
giving away the lead?
We're giving away the lead. But like that's someone you know and someone you love.
Yeah.
And so I immediately became a CPR instructor, started teaching everyone who would listen how to save the lives of their loved ones. I didn't even care to pay me. I was like, look, you need to know this knowledge.
Wow.
And so the business started growing, and it turned it from a hobby into a business. And we realized, okay, we got to burn the ships, because right now we've been kind of treating it like a side hustle,
love that.
a part-time. So we burned the ships such that, we aren't doing any other things out
I was
there.
just going to say, can you explain that for people who
burning
don't
the
know
ships.
about burning the ships?
Yeah. So really there was, I wish I knew the actual war, the general that actually, had this real story, but essentially a general, came onto this particular shore they're about to conquer. And he basically told them to burn the ships, because the only way off of this island is if we conquer it.
Yeah. If you
right?
win.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so same mentality for your business.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a point in time, like, I'm not going to say, hey, listen, if you don't have your money right, you need to make sure you have your money right before you replace it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's definitely a balance there.
Yeah, of course.
But for those who are at that point where they can make that decision, 100% burn those ships, and you got to be committed, just like anything else. When I get asked, people say, hey, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a medical device sales. And their response is, man, you must be killing it.
Right.
And so my before I even answer that question, I was like, hey, what do you do?
Right.
And they're like, oh, I wash cars for a living.
Yeah.
I was like, you must be killing it.
Yeah.
You know why? I say that regardless of what their industry is.
I love that.
Because they could be killing it.
Oh yeah.
It has everything to do with commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Has everything to do with their commitment to success. All right. And so that's what we did. We burned the ships. We committed. And then at that point, we started growing again. The number one question I was getting was, hey, Kirk, Captain Kirk, you just taught me how to use this thing called a defibrillator. I can't even pronounce it right. Where can we get one? And I would shrug my shoulders and say, I don't know, Google it. Wow. I answered that question one too many times. I had a light bulb go off, and I was like, I'm literally not servicing my clients and providing value to them. I'm doing them a disservice by saying, I don't know, Google it. They're begging me for more information. They're begging me. I just gave them the knowledge, but knowledge without resources is incomplete. And you got to marry the two.
Yeah. And
so that was my next step.
I love that. Knowledge
without okay. Here, hey, mark the time, David. This is one of those things. Knowledge. Clip this one. Knowledge without resources is incomplete.
Yeah.
And you got to marry the two. And so that is what we did. We became a distributor. We started selling every FDA approved defibrillator on the market. And we were able to then answer that question. Hey, Kirk, where can we get this thing called a defibrillator? Let me show you my website. Let me show you my e-commerce store. Let me recommend which one I would, say for your particular situation and your particular needs for the value, the advantages, features, and benefits that best suit your desire, right? And so I give myself a pat on the back. I'm like, all right, I did it. But then, and the numbers are skewed, right? So like, I don't know the exact numbers, but I've heard anywhere between 100,000 and 250,000, 250,000 CPR instructors are on in the United States alone. Wow. And they're still shrugging their shoulders. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's not enough. Yeah.
And so what we did, we saw this problem, and we're like, okay, how do we fix this? And so we created a Shopify account, and we put every single FDA approved defibrillator on the market, and we allowed them to have a personalized, customized website with their name on it. And what that does is they get a special link that is attached to their website. And so now when they're asked a question, they say, go to my website, they click on the store, it redirects to their customized store.
Yeah.
And then we take care of all the legwork. We negotiate with manufacturer reps, we warehouse, we take care of shipping and returns, all that. All you do is a simple referral. Let me show you what we offer.
Right.
And we even do the sales. We have people, do the email introduction and say, hey, this is my sales rep. And what we do is we get them on the phone, we do a fact finding, and then we close them on exactly what they need.
That's fantastic. You're talking about having the resources and knowledge. So you're providing all the resources for anyone who wants to be a part of this. What about the knowledge, right? How can I go to Rescue Site? How can I go to you and say, hey, Captain Kirk, like,
it starts with the knowledge.
Wow.
So typically we come into a group and we're doing CPR training, just like the majority of the audience here is they go into an individual's home or a business or a community group, and they teach CPR. And so that's where they get the knowledge, and they learn how to use a defibrillator. And then that, simple question is, hey, you just taught us how to, where can we get one? Right.
Fantastic.
And so we're the next step in the chain of survival.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that every single CPR instructor, every single firearms instructor, every single safety, let's put it that way, safety program instructor of all sorts has the ability to become an affiliate and sell anything on the store and get commissions for it.
Yeah, I love this, because not only do you provide, like you said, knowledge and resources to ultimately help people, but there's almost a virality to it, right? Like, in and being able to, I guess not being able to trigger like the whole post-pandemic thing by mentioning virality, right? But
you trigger me.
sorry. But I mean, it's true, right? There's a sense of virality, and it goes back to how you're making people feel, right? Like, imagine being able to go into your friend's home. Imagine being able to go into a business, a friend's home, a neighbor, and you're holding these things locally in your community, in a home, and to be able to do that, you're gonna feel a certain way. You're gonna feel confident. You're gonna be able to commit to something, right? You train enough, and going back to your example and your origin story, you train enough, and you have enough of the resources at your exposure, so that you can practice, and so that you can, ultimately train. I mean, that's really what it is, right? To then be able to execute. You know what I mean? It's one thing to have the knowledge and to have the resources. It's another thing to train against that execution and
have the confidence to properly respond. And that is exactly how we train. Is, my guarantee is, look, we're not going to give you a certification unless you feel 100% confident in your ability to properly respond to an emergency situation.
That's fantastic.
And so that's our guarantee. We don't want you to, be wishy-washy or be like, okay, man, I had that one last question. I mean, we ask this question probably 10 times throughout our training. Whenever we do training, do you feel confident in this? Do you feel confident giving compressions? Do you feel confident giving breaths?
Right.
Do you feel confident using a defibrillator? Do you feel confident putting it all together? I mean, like, we literally say, do you feel confident? Probably 10 times.
Yeah.
Because we want people to feel confident and get those repetitions, because without the repetitions, again, you're going to respond how you train. And if you're not training properly, then you're not going to respond
properly, consistently, right? Something that comes to mind when we're talking about this is something that we use over at Purple Circle is with our clients. We use something called the 12-week year. That's how
I've heard this. Okay, talk to me.
Oh man, the 12-week year is just a fantastic book. Definitely look it up. Amazon, Google, it's all over the place. iBookstore. The 12-week year, and we use this at Purple Circle with all of our clients. And one of the things that they talk about in this book is really understanding self-confidence, right? So you're talking about, are you confident in being able to do compressions? Are you confident in being able to? In a conversation that I had recently with one of our colleagues at Purple Circle was in this space of understanding self-confidence. Well, where do you get this self-confidence from? How can I do this? How can I be confident? Well, we provide the training, of course, right? And we have a whole, internal onboarding, right? But then what, right? You have to execute. But if you've never done this before, right? So case in point, like what we're talking about here, right? Using an AED, CPR, understanding how to do compressions, right? How do I then know how to act? And what comes to mind is a line from the 12-week year. And it's understanding that your commitment is fulfilling a promise to yourself in the future. So if you act from the commitment and understanding what you're promising to do for others, then you'll always have the confidence to be able to execute.
Dude, I was just sitting there in silence. Hey, David, mark that down. We want that to be a clip that we all look at.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's true, right? Because oftentimes, and I'm guilty of this too, right? How often do we get to a point where, having the self-confidence of whether it's a cold call or, calling out to, maybe it's that girl that you like, or that guy, or, the significant other, right? Like, having the confidence to be able to do that is, it takes a lot, but where does that come from? And I love this line because I think it really pinpoints it. It's understanding your future commitment to yourself and to this other person. And so in regards to what we're talking about here is, if someone were to ask, well, how do I have the confidence to be able to do CPR, to be able to do compressions, to be able to work with an AED device? Well, I would ask you, like, where was your commitment? Where was your commitment to yourself and being the one and being the angel that's able to save this life and being the resource for others to learn from? If you're committed from that, if that's an idea that you like, then I would urge that person to commit to that idea. Write it down, make it a mission statement, make it a purpose statement, vision boards. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but understanding your commitment is it's almost like a future deposit, right, in the bank of self-confidence. And so the more that you're able to commit, the more that you're able to make those deposits now in commitment, then you can then act from that commitment. And in turn, it translates into confidence and then ultimately fulfills the promise that you made to yourself. And that's the best way to grow your self-confidence, right? Is when you fulfill the promises that you made yesterday and you realize them today, then you'll be able to redeem that and then be able to pay it forward. That's another good one. Can you write that one down? That was a good one.
Mark
I said that one. I was like, oh man, that's an awesome point.
Well, and here's the thing too, like I love what you're saying, because it really comes down to, like, if your vision is so big,
yeah,
then the pain of what you're doing right now is nothing. Like, okay, you got a few less hours of sleep tonight because you were working on something, or you had to do XYZ. It was painful, it hurts, whatever. I mean, if you're losing weight, I mean, you got to cut out certain things, right? If you want to add things, people talk about, like, I'll talk about what Grant Cardone talks about all the time, right? If you want to add something in your life, everyone wants to add stuff, like, hey, let's add this and add this and add this. No one talks about, what are we going to cut?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So what are we going to cut in order to add something? Because, like, there's not this, like, this, you can't just continually add. At some point your cup overflows literally, and there's something is going to fall apart.
Right.
And so unless you figure out what you're going to cut, then you're not going to be able to add.
It's so key to understand. And I think the way that you do that, because for many people, like, I think that's going to sound really harsh, right? Like, man, like I got to cut things out of my life. I would go back to understanding your commitment and then being able to cut things out of your life. It's really just going back to your priorities. What are your priorities? What is important to you? What are the levels in which, that you are, I guess, that you're going to act against, right? So oftentimes in ministry, my wife and I do a bunch of ministry on the side, and we often talk to these high school kids and college kids, college students. Can't call them kids, right, because they're adults, but these college students, and we talk about a bunch of different things. But recently, relationships have been, like, really hot. We've been married 10 years. We're high school sweethearts, and so a lot of people come to us.
Congratulations, by the way, because 10 years.
Thank you.
That's a decade. That's a long time.
It's actually this month, June 12th.
Congrats,
yeah.
That's
Thank
huge.
you. Thank you.
Wow, our anniversary is this month too.
Yeah, it's coming up.
15, 13. We can never figure out what day it is. Did y'all hear that?
It's coming up.
My wife doesn't even know.
Yeah. Safe.
Right.
Safe.
Okay.
13th, I think.
Is it the 13th?
I'm pretty sure it's not my mom's birthday.
This month?
Okay,
No way.
maybe we, like,
Wow.
June's a good month.
Oh yeah, that's
All right.
awesome.
Maybe we should do, like, a double like, it's not a honeymoon, it's anniversary. Okay, so this is funny story real quick. This complete red herring. When whenever we go to, like, do something for an anniversary, I always call it a honeymoon. Every single time.
I mean, that could either be, like, really romantic or,
well, like, I tell everyone at the front desk, it's like, hey, it's our honeymoon, and they're like, oh my god, and they, like, go above and beyond. And I'm like, we've been married. And Beth is like, okay, at that point, she's like, you committed, all right? I mean, we're honeymooning right now.
It's like, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but have you ever done, like, the birthday thing at the restaurant where it's like,
100%.
It's
100%.
It's this girl's birthday. Like, oh my gosh.
And you got to do it like Texas
June.
Roadhouse, where you got to, like, ride the bull, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that for those of you who are doing that, please pay for the cake. I know
obviously,
free.
right?
Please pay for the cake. Do the right thing. The right thing is always the right thing. It's always good to have a laugh. But in any event, priorities, right? So understanding the priorities is a great way to cut things out in order to add on the new things. And so when we do this ministry thing, my wife and I, we talk about how our priority is first and foremost, it's between us and God. And for anyone else who's listening or watching, it's the higher power, right? Whether it's yourself, Allah, Buddha, like whatever you believe in, right? Whatever you know is your higher power, right? So it's your relationship between yourself and your higher power. Then it's you. Like your relationship with you is really, really important. What are you doing? How do you take care of yourself? Everything from hygiene to reading to education. What is your relationship with you? And then in this order, it's my significant other. So in my case, it's my wife, and then our children, right? We have a daughter, and then literally everything else.
Mhm.
So at that point, what really is the priority, right? If there's other things that are intervening between my relationship with my higher power, myself, my wife, and my child, then that's how I know to cut things out. So in regards to like your trainers and those who are listening and watching, what are your priorities for your business? Write them down. And then anything else that just is like after the fifth one, like that's how you cut that out.
Mhm.
That's a really, really easy way to cut that out. What are your priorities in your life and in your business? And then if anything that comes into your life, whether it's a situation in business or personal, whatever the case may be, you can very quickly say, I don't need that. I can
Right.
cut that out. Thank
I
you
mean,
so
I'll
much
show
for
you
this
this right here.
opportunity, but we don't need that.
This is my journal. Every single day, I
Love
write down my top 5
Yeah,
goals,
same. Yeah.
priorities, goals,
Yep.
whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
First thing I do when I
I
wake
have
up,
mine in my bag.
I love it.
Yeah.
First thing I do when I wake up, last thing I do when I go to sleep, I
Mhm.
write those down. And guess what? Throughout the day, even throughout the night when I'm dreaming, I am filtering every single decision through, okay, is this going to get me closer to number
Yeah,
1,
yeah.
number 2, number 3, on down the list.
Bro, and that's
I'll say every decision that you make
Mhm.
will get you one step closer.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Okay, or one step away from that goal.
100%. And as you take those steps forward, going back to the analogy of that self-confidence and paying yourself and that commitment, those are those deposits in order to redeem that self-confidence later, to
Love it.
redeem, the ability to be able to pay it forward, right? So
Love
when
it.
you commit, when you're able to follow through on those commitments, those promises, not only to yourself, but then, and now you're re-emphasizing it, right? So it's almost like your billing statement at the end of the month, right?
Yep.
But you're doing it daily. What did I spend my time on? What did I focus on? Am I still in alignment with my priorities and my goals? And if not, then what do I need to cut out? I mean, it's so key. It's so key.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. I like to transition into a segment here, if we could call it a segment. We're going to do some content.
Segment is appropriate.
Segment is a good word, right? All right. So Grant Cardone, as some of you may know, is a real estate mogul, sales, marketing, all things. Like if you're not on Cardone University,
guru,
you need to get on Cardone University.
Yeah, get on Cardone University.
We train on. You train on it, right?
Every day.
Every day.
15 minutes a day. Every day.
Is that it?
Oh, ouch.
Love it.
Ouch.
I mean, you're either committed or not. So listen, hey, anything on Cardone U, whether it's one segment or 100 a day, whatever you're looking at doing, like that's going to be massive for you. But again, you can't like be so like doing training and then never executing, right? There's a balance,
right.
100%. So as far as this segment is concerned, we're going to go over some of Grant Cardone's material. I'm a licensee. That means I am licensed to share this kind of stuff.
This is
Did you not?
So cool.
Yeah. So we ought to partner up on something like, I don't know, maybe Purple Circle.
Yes.
Like, if you go in for the systems, I'll
teach
them how to sell
we'll
or
talk
something.
off camera.
I love it. So one of the segments, if you would, on Cardone University is 7 top sales secrets. So I would love to kind of just go through those with you. And first and foremost, we got to decide to be great. Decide to be great. So a lot of times people are comparing themselves to other people, but they're not comparing themselves to industries. They're thinking too small. Because if you Google CPR instructor, you're going to find the average CPR instructor makes roughly $44,000 a year. Wow. $44,000 a year. And so if you're comparing yourself to that and you're like, man, I made 50,000, I made 100,000, man, I made $250,000, I made it like that is not the comparison.
Bro, you are so hitting a chord with me right now. Do not compare yourself to others, but compare yourself to industry. Talk about like just 10xing your level of self-confidence, right? Because if you don't have to worry about that,
Got the 10X hat on tonight. This representing.
you know what I mean, though? Like, because I mean, I'm guilty of it, right? Which is why it's striking a chord with
Everyone
me.
is.
Yeah, dude.
Everyone is. And
It's so cool to be able to
pretend you're
to
not.
swap that out.
Yeah.
Talk about cutting things out, right?
Mhm.
To cut out that perspective and now add this new perspective. Who am I in comparison to industry?
Right.
That's massive, dude.
Dude.
That's a game changer in and of itself.
Safety industry. I think when I looked at it, it was like $6.6 billion. That's the industry cap right now, and it's only going to get bigger with inflation. I mean, that's probably going to be like
of course.
close to 10 billion, right?
But as technologies, continue, as other things evolve, like safety is a concern. And
100%.
being able to be trained on those things, it's going to be really key. So yeah, dude, this is like an amazing industry to be a part of.
So this is a really cool slide right here. I love it. It talks about deny your reality, sell to your potential. Okay. So success is what lies between the gap of where you are today and what your potential is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so often people don't see their potential. It's really funny too, because like oftentimes people can see the potential of other people, but they can never see the potential in themselves.
We see it in business all the time.
Yeah.
The purple circle. They'll come in and they'll say, "Hey, we just want to do this or that," and we're like, "Do you not understand?
You know you're on a gold mine right here?
Do you not get
so
it?
many
Yeah,
things.
but it's interesting that it's always outside, right? It's always external. It's not the other way around.
And sometimes you
very,
got to
very
have that
interesting.
kick in the butt. And it's like, hey, look, I can see what you don't see, and I would love for you to execute it. Let me show you how.
Fantastic.
You know?
Yeah.
We were talking about commitment just a minute ago.
Oh, yeah.
Commitment until obsessed.
Mm.
And so we're talking about eating sales, drinking sales, breathing sales, and I love the last one, injecting it. All right. I mean, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to be dreaming about it. You got to be eating it. I mean, everything you do has got to be sales. And I know we're going to get some objections here on the line. So it's funny. One of the main, when I talk about sales, the first thing people say is like, oh, whoa.
Yeah. They get turned off.
I'm not a sales
The
person.
eyes roll, right?
I'm
the
not a
eyes
salesperson.
roll.
And you know what I say? I say, time out. What did you just say? You be the person. Say it for me.
Sure. Oh, no, I'm not a salesperson.
You just tried to sell me on not being a salesperson?
100%, because I'm not.
That is exactly. See? Love it.
Yeah, they
And
have
that's
that
what
moment,
happens.
right?
The little light bulb go off. It's like,
Yeah.
look, you're going to be sell or be sold. There's a book called Sell or Be Sold, and it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, why you do it. You're going to buy something, and you're going to sell something.
Yeah, that's another Grant Cardone gem too. Sell or
Right?
Be sold. Amazing.
And it's amazing. Like kids are unabashed. What's the word?
Unabashedly.
Is that right? Unabashedly.
Unabashedly.
Let's not mark the time on this one. So unabashedly, kids are just like, hey, look, I want that candy bar. Mom can have that candy bar. Mom can have that candy bar. They will ask you, talk about follow-up, right? They'll ask you a million times until they get what they want.
Exactly.
What happens from age 5 to 15 or 25?
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah. What happened?
Like, why aren't you asking your clients a million times? Have you heard enough to make a decision?
Yeah.
Have you heard enough to make a decision? All right. I'll sometimes start my demos with that. I'm serious. I will literally say,
that's fantastic.
I do.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Maybe they have heard enough to make a decision. They're like, dude, just take my card.
I'll never forget. We were going back and forth on a call with a client, and we had our HubSpot partner with us, and they're going through the demo, and you can, like, you saw the head nodding, right? This was a virtual kind of pitch, right? And where I said to my partner before the call, I said, we're closing today. He goes, no. There's a whole,
There's a process, right?
We're closing today. Go through the demo, follow my lead. Just follow my lead. And sure enough, I said, what are your questions and concerns? What if this could do half of the things that it says that it can do? Wouldn't it still be,
why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, why wouldn't you do it? She goes, yeah, and she talks about the concerns, whatever. And then we address those concerns. And this guy was about to go into another like 15-minute role. I said, hey, before we get into that, really quickly, have you heard enough to make a decision? Have you seen enough to make a decision? In the bated breath, you can chew the air. It was like so it was such a pregnant pause.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, 100%. It's fantastic.
Lean on the pin.
Your invoice is in your email. Go ahead, check it out.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it, dude.
Yeah,
And that's so awesome because people try to oversell all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then
It's what kills the sell.
It kills the sell. You know, one of my favorite questions to objections is why would you do this?
Right.
Because then all of a sudden they're selling themselves, right? So like I literally am over here with a pen and piece of paper and I'm taking notes and I'm like, okay, why else? Why else?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Mm-hmm.
else?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Let's roll.
Let's do it.
I literally say let's roll.
Yeah.
If that's the case,
I agree.
let's roll.
I'm with you. Let's do this.
100%. Right.
There you go.
And we're going to get into some of those real quick. So the
Fantastic.
7 sales secrets, right? So number 1 is understanding rejection. Rejection is the emotion experienced by those that don't have enough in their pipeline.
Yeah,
I think about the people who make 100 calls a day. That's nothing, right? 400 calls a day, whatever the case may be. When you make those calls, half of them aren't going to answer. Probably more than half aren't going to answer. Let's say the half that do answer. What's the number 1 objection? What's the number 1 you hear?
It's always price.
Price.
It's always
for me.
price.
It's like I'm not even interested. It's like I'm not even interested.
Yeah, because it wasn't even a thought for them. Like it wasn't even on the radar.
And then guess like
until God forbid,
right?
Something happens.
I'm not interested. There's a fire department right next door.
Yeah.
Are they there 100% for you?
Yeah.
All the time,
right?
Because they have a whole county that they're working for, right?
And there's a call time. There's literally an SLA, a service level agreement, that they have to be there within a certain amount of time.
Sure.
I mean, not for nothing, but you can only hold your breath for so long before like.
That's what I'm saying.
And now you're doing some real damage. You know what I mean? Like we may be making light of this, but the truth of the matter is that you need to have a solution on location, on prem, with people who are trained. It's vital.
Have you ever been rafting?
Once.
Okay, so I'm not sure. So I love rafting. I'll do it every chance I can. Did you like it or not?
I enjoyed it. There were a couple of times where my heart was in my stomach, and there were other body parts in other places.
I love it. Okay.
Those white caps. I was like, whoa.
So here's my point with rafting. What part of the safety debriefing that they do is they talk about you have to participate in your own rescue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to participate in your own rescue. Same thing for life. All right. If you're not prepared, the police aren't there at your beck and call.
Right.
EMTs aren't there for your beck and call. They're there as a response to an emergency. All right. Your job is to know what to do, how to do it.
Right. Right.
And so you have to participate
because that's how they do it. Right?
In your own rescue.
They train, they prepare in case of an emergency. And why is it an emergency? Because you don't have the training, you don't have the resources, you don't have the experience, you haven't committed, right?
100%.
That's why.
And if you really want to get deep, let's talk about, completely like prerequisites to heart attacks. Why do people have heart attacks?
Yeah.
That's health.
Yeah.
Now there's a difference between a heart attack and sudden cardiac arrest. We're not going to go too deep in this, but like a lot of these problems stem from health issues. Okay. You eat right, you sleep right, you move, you exercise.
Right.
Those 3 things alone will take care of 99% of your issues.
Yeah. Compound interest is not just financially.
I love it. Number 2, the buyer insistence. So the more the buyer insists they want, the more likely they will.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been on the phone with somebody or even in person and they're like, not interested. Nah, we're good. Nah, seriously, really, like we don't want that. They're still talking with you. They are still talking with you. Why are they talking? For people that are confident in their decisions, they will say yes. From scriptures, let your yes be yes and your no be no, right?
Amen.
And so, like legit, like those who are confident in who they are, they will say yes or no, leave it at that. But those who are literally having to sell themselves and why they shouldn't or should, like you gotta be a salesman, because again, if you're not committed enough to what you're selling, I got people all the time. They're like, they jump on the affiliate program and they're like, oh man, I'm going to sell all these defibrillators. I was like, awesome. Which one do you have? They're like, what do you mean? I was like, how do you expect to sell a defibrillator if you yourself don't have one? The first question you're going to be asked is, which one do you have for your business? And for your family.
The same thing with us in HubSpot. When we had that partnership, we moved everything over. Going back to that first slide, right? Or the earlier slide, right? We live, eat, breathe,
and inject.
Business. Yeah, and inject.
Don't forget that one. And so here's the
Yeah.
thing, like, I lost my train of thought. Beautiful.
Here's the thing. We
Here's the
lost this train of
thing.
thought.
I had a really good line, I thought. Let's go on. All right.
That's fantastic. No.
That's live.
Hey, no, it happens. we were talking about how with HubSpot, with my partnership with HubSpot, we were eating our own dog food, right?
Yeah.
It's important for us to make sure that what we're selling, what we're providing,
That's right.
what we're providing, we are also doing too. So having that first sale
Mhm.
of an AED product, like,
Listen,
why
if
don't you have one?
But I mean, every
know what I mean?
CPR instructor should have one, regardless if you sell them or not.
Yeah.
Because more times than not, we show up to a facility that we're training and they don't even have one at their facility. So guess what? As an instructor coming and teaching them how to use a defibrillator, how to do CPR, and then it's only a matter of time that someone has a heart attack or sudden cardiac arrest in the middle of a class. And guess what? You are not going to be able to do what you're teaching because you aren't properly prepared.
Yeah. Talk about image.
And
talk about character.
not only that,
talk
but
about like
I say, listen, literally,
what's up with that, right?
if you're not committed, like you literally have to respond, hey, which defibrillator do you have? Your response is, you know what? I'm not committed enough to my family to protect them with this thing called a defibrillator. I'm not committed enough to my home, my office, my community group, my church. I'm not committed to them enough to have one there. Because if you're committed to it, then like you will follow up a million times until they buy.
Oh yeah.
Because at that point, like if you're not committed to the product, then it's just like, okay, you're just selling another widget.
Right.
But this is life or death.
Yeah.
Like this has a bigger purpose. We're talking second chances here. Someone who could go on to do some great things, but had their life cut short.
Yeah. The investment to value is like, that ratio is just way off.
Beth, what was it that you wrote, or you wrote down something earlier today? You were talking about how, when someone dies, how much would you be willing to pay for that defibrillator?
That basically, after someone's passed, like you would leverage everything that you have to get them back. Whereas like, in that moment beforehand, it was only a very, very small sum of money that seemed big at the time. But, looking back on it, it's like, wow, that was literally nothing, but you can't change it at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd pay anything.
People are like balking at $1,700. And I'm like, dude, what is this thing on your wrist?
It's your phone and your watch.
What is this thing that you're holding right now? You magically found money there.
I know.
It has everything to do with what you value. And unfortunately, we live in a society of people that do not value life.
Yeah.
Which is so scary.
Well, because people take it for granted, and I'm definitely one of them, right? We take life for granted. We take time for granted, like these are things that when they go, you go, oh, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what do you mean this person passed away? Oh, what do you mean it was traumatic?
Yeah.
And it was because of cardiac heart failure. It was like, Jesse Itzler talks about this at GrowthCon, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the Growth Conference.
The bus.
Yeah. You don't know when you're going to get hit by a bus. You don't know when you could drop over. But what's really interesting is that if you follow the stats, that it's going to either be from cardiac arrest, it's going to be from
right? Number one cause of death in the world.
So you could almost project it out. So
that's what you do with Purple Circle, by the way.
Yeah.
Now you project and you predict future outcomes,
Yeah. Profitability, all of that. Absolutely.
Number 3, always agree. Isn't that right, Beth?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Isn't that right, Beth?
Yes.
She was like,
I said, yeah.
Yeah. No, we'll play this game.
Yeah.
Joel, I forget his last name. Joel.
Yes.
Okay, so what's his last name? Burr?
Yes.
Burr, okay.
Yeah.
Burr. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. No, it was funny. I saw him like literally in a restaurant in the middle of nowhere. They're at 2 separate tables talking, and he leans over. He goes, "Isn't that right, babe?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, I love it.
Yeah.
So I was like, Beth, we ought to try that sometime.
It's true though. The agreement, whether it's in sales, whether it's even to yourself, like whether it's as a trainer, to have that agreement there's just so much leverage. There's just so much leverage.
Yeah, you want to avoid words like no, not, never, can't, wants. You want to take I avoid the word if. I always say when.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? Because I assume the sell.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time.
It is only a matter of time. That's right. So agree. This is some great definition stuff for you right here. So agree is a verb. have the same opinion about something or concur. So like what you were saying a minute ago, I completely agree with you, right? I completely agree with you. You're right. I have said the exact same thing before. I'm 100% on board.
I agree. I'm with you.
Right, right. People love to, first of all, like, they love to hear that. But secondly, what does no accomplish?
Yeah, and it's not, a lot of people when they go through like this the sales routine, or like the secrets of sales that we're going through now, oh, that feels so fake. Oh, well, that's not, well then be genuine about it. Do you agree with them?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Can you empathize with
Can you
them?
put yourself in their shoes?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see why, you think that.
Right.
And you don't want to put
I
like,
can see
that
how
you,
I can see how that can be frustrating for
Right.
you. Here's our solution.
that must be really frustrating. I mean, like, dude, talk about feelings earlier.
To feel connected, to feel that level of empathy,
Yeah.
it goes a long way.
And here's the thing too, like you said, whenever we have people that go through this type of training, they're like, oh, you're so disgenuine, right? And it's like, some people are.
Some people are.
Some people are. But when you have a mission and a vision, my vision is to create a world where no one dies from sudden cardiac arrest. When your vision is that big,
Love that.
when your mission is that big,
Yeah.
then you have no problem, actually being genuine when you agree.
Yeah.
Because that, hey, if they buy this, then they'll be in a position to properly respond in the case of a sudden cardiac arrest. So
Fantastic.
number 4, show a proposal to every single customer.
Yep.
These statistics are crazy. 70% of all salespeople never present a proposal.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
That is literally, you were starting in a deficit. Like you are literally going up the bat and not swinging 7 out of 10 times.
And it's not like you're not going to have it already, right? And if you don't, you totally should, right? But like, you're going to show this anyway. You're going to have a quote. You're going to have an invoice. So just bring it back. Have that proposal ready. Understand what is it going to do for the client or the customer, right? Like, just like everything else, right? Be prepared. Have it ready.
100%. 100%. 87. There's another statistic. 87% of all salespeople miss quota.
That's crazy.
And then like, imagine if the 70% that actually presented a proposal.
Yeah. Oh, do the math. Oh my gosh.
It will have that inverse effect. I mean, it wouldn't be anywhere near 87%, right? Excuses for not creating proposals, not ready, not committed.
Exactly.
Both decision aren't there. Like, I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, I got to ask my wife, or I got to ask my husband, or I got to ask my spouse, right? And so it's like, where are they? I'll ask. I was like, where are they?
So then where are they? Why aren't they on the call?
I was like, let's do it now.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do it right now. I was like, when can they do it?
Sure.
I literally pinned them down for a time. I was like, awesome. I look forward to talking with you.
It goes back to commitment. It goes back to commitment, right? Why wouldn't you do this fast? Especially in this industry that you guys are in. Like, you would want to do this yesterday. We're talking about saving lives.
It takes 4 minutes for your brain to have irreversible brain damage. 4 minutes. Every minute that you go without high quality CPR, and when I say high quality CPR, that is compressions, breaths, and the use of a defibrillator.
Oh, gosh.
Every minute, your chance of survival drops 7 to 10%. So after 10 minutes, you're looking at 70 to 100% likelihood of and so it's just like, dude.
Yeah, exponential, irreversible return.
Yeah.
There's just no going back.
And so some things I say is like, hey, I'd much rather you have a defibrillator 4 years too soon than 4 minutes too late.
Oh,
I mean, it's
fantastic.
No, mark that down. Mark that down at the time. That was a good one.
It's so true though.
It is.
So true.
It is. Number 5 is third-party touch. I'm not even going to read all this to you, but like, you understand what the third-party touch is, and that is when you bring someone else outside.
Oh, yeah.
Either they could be outside the organization, or they could just be even your boss.
Yeah,
it could be your spouse. I'll have Beth call some people sometime and be like, hey, why haven't you bought from us yet?
Yeah. Hey, you were talking to Captain Kirk earlier. We noticed that you didn't buy. Is everything okay? Was everything all right with that?
Like,
that's that third person.
That's the third person touch right there. And it's funny because third person is mentioned twice in here. So number 6, always provide options. I love this. Okay. So I did a quote just the other day for a construction company. They're like, hey, we need X number of defibrillators, and we need showed them an upsell for a first aid kit. I literally I sent them an invoice too. I sent them an invoice for every possible thing that they can put on there. And guess what? They tailored it But if I only sent them the minimum,
They wouldn't have had the options.
then first of all, they wouldn't have had the options. But second of all, like they added stuff that they didn't originally have.
And you made it easy for them to be able to close themselves, right? Because once
Exactly.
they have those options and be able to go back and forth, you made it possible for them to close themselves.
Right.
I love this.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like asking, I just want to throw this in,
Yeah, please.
asking a girl, hey, what do you want for dinner? And she goes, I have no idea. She's going to stay like that. But if you say, do you want,
wait for Beth to keep it real, right?
love it.
we're
do you
talking-
want
you don't understand
Arby's?
how-
This is the important stuff right
She
here.
asked this question
This
nightly.
is why you watch
Well,
the show and
but
listen
if
to the
you
show.
if you say, hey, do you want Arby's? Do you want Ruth Chris? Do you want Chili's? And she's gonna give you an answer probably. You've given her options to choose from.
Right,
That's exactly right.
right. Until
Same
she
thing with
says,
a customer.
until she says, no, I only want the baby back ribs from Chili's, but I want the French fries from KFC, and I only want the soda from.
So like that's just way too much right there. But like luckily Beth isn't that extra.
So believe it or not,
I'm basic.
not my.
I am super basic. What do I say every time you ask me?
Pizza.
Every single night she goes, Kirk, what do you want for dinner? I'm like,
pizza.
pizza.
So by the grace of God, not in my own relationship, but this was my mom, believe it or not. We were literally just talking about this just a couple of weeks ago with my wife and I. And I forget how we got to the conversation, but I said to her, yeah, growing up, my mom would get the steak from the local grocery store. She would get the fries from KFC. She would get the macaroni, the pasta macaroni, whatever, from another place. And it was just this hodgepodge of, and it was like, that really was the best option because we had the options. If we had only said, oh yeah, we'll just barbecue steak, then we probably would have just had a salad, whatever, what was home.
Sure.
But the fact that my mom was brilliant enough to be like, well, you guys like those fries and you like this and you like, so to be able to have that, and back to your point about showing all the invoices and options, like to be able to have that, we would not have, and this is a beautiful memory of mine, right? I love being able to say this to my wife, and she's looking at me like I have 5 heads. She's like, wait, why would you get all these? It's because we enjoyed it. This is what we enjoy, right?
Yeah.
My wife, my dad, my brother, like they liked the mac and cheese from this place, and we liked the fries from this place, and mom just wanted a quality meal without any of the other work, right? So like to be able to have those options, to be able to curate those things easily, fast, quick, it was so important to us, and now I have this beautiful memory.
Well, and like to bring this to business, I mean, so often people only have one option.
Yeah.
Hey, I only teach CPR from American Heart Association. What happens if like they had this biggest account for you and they're like, we only take ARC, which is American Red Cross. Like, dude, you just put yourself in a box. Same thing with defibrillators. Like I had one particular brand say, hey, if you want to sell our product, you're only allowed to sell our product and you can't sell anyone else's. We had to drop them.
100%.
We had to drop them.
You would have
you
to.
You can't put yourself in a box like that.
Not only that, but it's selfish. Think about this.
100%.
Think about what you're doing. Why would you limit me in being able to save lives and have those options?
Every single defibrillator on the market has different advantages, features, and benefits that are tailored to a specific crowd.
Yeah.
Yes, they will all shock a shockable rhythm. Yes, they will all work. But there are certain features, advantages, and benefits that each of them have that others don't. And so certain groups will want this one over this one, this one. And if I were to say, hey, I offer every single FDA approved defibrillator on the market, and then we can go into those advantages, features, and benefits of each one and figure out which one is perfect for them. That is the perfect solution.
It's the reason why we started offering financing over at Purple Circle, because we had these clients that were coming in and we didn't have a proper solution, right? Normally we have a certain persona and demographic that makes a certain kind of revenue that comes in. And so we know who we want to be able to work with, but we also know who desperately needs what we provide. And we didn't have an option. And to be able to now be able to provide financing to anyone who does literally zero in revenue, all the way up to $500,000 in revenue a year, to be able to offer financing, we're now able to, and it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed with Eve.co and Purple Circle.
We're about to work with them too.
Oh
we're about to start working with them too.
They're phenomenal, but more than anything, and especially for you guys, like to have that option of to take the financial rebuttal out.
Yeah.
Because
look, if you can, like, so for instance, our platform program, we have a $15,000 and $35,000 option. And to take be like, hey, look, if you invest $15,000 with us and you don't make that back,
Right.
we did not do our job. And first of all, you should, cancel us,
Mm-hmm.
and you should let everyone know that we did not
Yeah, of course.
do what we
Yeah.
promised. But when I put an offer out there on the table, that's my name, that's my company,
Mhm.
that's like my team. And we're going to be 100% behind that until the very end. And we're going to make sure that it is above and beyond
It
what
goes
we
back
promised.
to commitment. It goes
100%.
right back to commitment.
I'm going to give you a list of things that we're going to do, but guess what? We're going to do a lot of other stuff too
Mhm.
that you didn't even think of.
All because we have options.
We
That's
have
what
options.
it comes down to.
100%.
Understanding that we have those options are so key.
I love the pictures of the option examples. We're all wearing watches. Maybe not that nice of a watch.
Yeah.
Sales secret number 7, third-party touch. Again, this is the second time we talked about that. But this is have another party or multiple parties touch every prospect, customer, buyer, and non-buyer. So you want to touch them early. You want to touch them often, during, after, exit, follow. You want to be hit multiple times with third-party
Mhm.
validation, because when you are in the cell and it's like, dude, someone picks up the phone, hey, this is Beth. I know you've been on this phone call for 15 minutes now. Have you heard enough to make a decision? Like,
Yeah.
Whoa. Right. And same thing with the follow-up. If people are still thinking about stuff, we'll start hammering them with information.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we got to do some research. Man, I'll do the research for you.
Yeah. Oh, here it is on a silver platter.
Right.
Here
Hey,
are my competitors.
Here are my
Here's,
competitors.
yeah,
I'll show you exactly what their price is,
We do
because
the
it's the
same
same
thing.
as mine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. we do
And
the
like,
same thing.
yeah, I'll show you the exact same price. I'll show you the exact same things that they offer, but you don't get me.
Right.
You don't get this
Right.
service.
And here's the value. Right?
Exactly.
And here's the value.
And if you can't, so people buy when value exceeds price,
Mhm.
right? And until you have, explained that your value is high enough, then no, they're not going to buy. Like, why would you buy a $20 book, right? You wouldn't buy a $20 book unless you think that there was at least $21 worth of value in there, right?
Right.
Some people, that's how some people think,
No, absolutely.
right? Like most books, you're probably going to get millions of dollars worth out of it if
You
you apply.
You want to be able to make sure that for every dollar you get $1.01, right? I tell people all the time, for every dollar I give, I want to make sure that I get $1.25, right? Or $1.50, right?
I love it.
And so we want to be able to do
Is
the
that
same thing.
Is
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, we got a couple bonuses. All right. So number 8, sales secret.
I feel like we need sounds.
Bonus. He actually might have some crazy noises. We'll see if he can come up with something. I see him like scrambling over there. We'll see.
Bonus.
So bonus number 8, or I guess it's bonus 1, but number 8.
Yeah.
The second sell. How powerful is the second sell?
It's so much easier.
It's the easiest money, right?
It's so much easier.
Listen to this: 96% of sales people never attempt a second sale. 90. That's almost 100%, dude. Almost 100% of the time, people are not saying, hey, thank you so much for buying with us. Did you know that this would be perfect for what you just, know? Like if I'm just selling a defibrillator, the second sell is a backup set of pads, backup set of batteries, right? That's the second sell. That is an easy thing, because they're like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Go ahead and throw that on the cart.
Yeah.
Because they've already, committed. They've already said, yeah, we're making this sell. And so just ask.
Hey, you have these AEDs. Have you decided to go into training? Have you decided to have a corporate event?
Yeah.
Have you decided to? I mean, those are the easy.
As a CPR instructor, your second sell is a defibrillator, right? So you're already in with a business or organization or homeowner, and they're looking at you as the authority behind everything. And then when you show them how to use a defibrillator, they're going to start thinking like, man, okay, so I can't actually do what he showed me how to do unless I have a defibrillator. Where can I get one?
Right.
And then you're going to be able to show them your link, and then they're going to be able to transact with you. And so, I mean,
and with a 98%, right? Because if you've already purchased,
you got to ask.
Oh, you have to ask.
Sorry.
You have to have. No. And what I was just going to emphasize was that the fact that 96% of salespeople never attempt the second sale, like you said, it's almost 100%. All you have to do is ask.
It's so simple.
And where do you ask, or where does that energy ask, or where does that come from to be able to ask? It comes from that commitment. Are you committed 100%. To these people? Can you really leave that session, whether it's corporate, in home, in a school, community center, whatever the case may be, and you're going to look at these people knowing that life and death can be on the line, and you're not going to ask? it goes back to commitment, right? It goes back to commitment, it goes back to priorities. And we already we have the data here, right? 9 times out of 10, they're just going to say yes. So make sure you ask.
Why not? Right. Number 9. You got a crazy little sound for us. Let's try one.
Go ahead. Do it.
Yeah. Love it. Number 9.
Number 9.
Instant follow up.
Love that.
Instant follow up. This is something I started practicing the second I heard it. Okay. Yeah. So 48% never follow up. Half the time, people do not follow up.
Crazy.
I went to a store. Actually, all this equipment that you see right here, I went to a brick and mortar because I wanted to support somebody.
Sure.
And I wasn't going to unless they followed up. Not one follow up. Not one follow up. So guess what? I went with Amazon.
Wow.
Because it was convenient.
Wow.
It was convenient.
Yeah.
I literally was committed to paying and buying all this equipment. I spent probably $2,000 worth of, equipment.
Sure.
And I was committed to, support a local brick and mortar, but all they had to do was follow up one time.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's all it takes.
That is all it takes.
That's all it takes.
So I know some people that require 3, and it's like, okay. And that's the thing too. It's like, okay, half the time someone might give me 1.
Right.
The numbers go way down for the second follow-up. So I there was another service I was looking for. I was committed to 3. I was like, well, let's see what happens here. So I got one follow-up, and I was like, he's on the track. I was like, yes, come on, please. I kind of wanted service. I was like, I really want it.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm not going to buy it unless I get 3 follow-ups. I have not heard from him since. I was like, dude, if you only knew, you had to just send me an email, text, phone call, 2 things, 2 points of contact, a voicemail. I would have bought from
voicemail, text message,
email.
email.
Would have bought from you. It would have been very lucrative for him because we would have used it for every single one of our platform partners.
And then you tell people, you
100%,
spread the word.
100%.
Absolutely.
Average first follow is 72 hours later.
Wow.
3 days. Is that right? 24, 48. Yep. I can count. Okay. 3 days later is the first follow-up.
That's so funny.
So here's what I do when I get off the phone with somebody.
3 days. That's like the old school dating rules, right? Like don't call her.
Right.
Don't
it's
call
like,
her. For
she
3
calls
days.
me first.
No. I can't call her. We're on the date. Can't call her. 3 days. Like, that's ridiculous.
Here's what I do. I open up my little camera here. I take video, push it on me, and I say, hey, this is Kirk with Rescue Site. I just want you to know this was an awesome time talking with you. And I went ahead and sent you the proposal.
Fantastic.
Right?
Yep.
Check for it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be in touch. Simple as that. It takes
That's all it takes.
15 seconds. I send that out within 5 minutes of hanging up from them. Dude.
And don't overthink it, right? Like don't, take 2, take 3.
I literally used to take like 10. Like, and now I'm just like, you know what? My dog barked in the background.
Be raw,
I just
real.
sneezed.
I mean, and that's what people look for, right? Like people want real. People don't want canned. People don't want, we were speaking about it before, right? Oh, it sounds, it doesn't sound real. It doesn't sound genuine. No. Go and be real. So whether you're selling it, whether you're instructing it, continue to be the real you. You'll always be able to close. And especially if you're following up, follow up.
I have people I've been following up with like for over a year.
Oh yeah. We've got people in the years. Her specifically over a year. Like, that is awesome.
My favorite.
That's commitment right there, by the way.
100%.
That's commitment.
100%. My favorite follow-up story is Steve Spray.
Yes.
Steve Spray.
Tell the audience.
They call him Scuba Steve because this guy digs into like your LinkedIn page, your Facebook page from like years ago. So he dives deep, right? That's why they call him Scuba Steve. That's right. And his follow-up game was just amazing.
I'll have to have him on the show.
You totally should. That would be fantastic. But he talks about how one of his clients wanted to climb a mountain or whatever, or like, very aspirational mountain climber, very outdoorsy. And so he goes and he gets a custom piece of art of the 3 mountains so he found out the 3 mountains that this person wanted to climb, like the last 3 on this person's bucket list. It's a custom piece of content out there with this person. Beautiful piece of art.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And
it's gorgeous.
Oh, it's beautiful. And sure enough, the guy's like, wow, dude, like you dove so deep into that. Where did you find that? I posted that years ago. You know what? and then he, boom, like right into the follow-up. Well, you know what? You're important to us, and we want to make sure that your business, and he goes into the whole, have you heard enough?
That is commitment.
Oh my God.
That is the
Yeah.
definition of commitment. I
Mhm.
mean, you going above and beyond, and you don't even have confirmation of a sale. By the way, he used his own money, not the company's money.
That's right. That's
He
right.
used his own money to what's the word when you
Commission?
commission? That's
Yeah.
the word. Commission the art. He used his. That's how committed he was. He wasn't going to boss say, "Hey, you know what? Could I expense this?"
Right.
No, he was so committed to that sell that he did it himself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
love
there's a whole other level of accountability there that we could talk about.
100%.
That's a whole other episode in and of itself.
The likelihood of contacting a customer decreases 10 times, 10x, between 5 minutes and 10 minutes.
Wow.
That's wild. Okay, so that's why I get my video out within 2 minutes. I'm just like, I just hit them with it as fast as
You
I
got to
can.
do it. You got to do it.
Chances increase 900% if contacted in the first 10 minutes.
And the fact that this is all backed by like actual, like it sounds out there, but the fact of the matter is that anyone who is experienced with you, who's experienced with me, who's experienced with 10x, or Greg
Hundreds of
Cardone,
thousands of calls, emails. I mean,
it's
legit.
backed by facts. That's what's absolutely crazy about this, that you read this and you see chances increase 900%. What else do you know is 900% increase? I mean, you could speculate even something silly about Dogecoin and Bitcoin and crypto, but I mean, and even then, like the fact that this is guaranteed, dude, it's guaranteed if you just follow through. You can make your own guarantee if you just follow through.
It's so simple.
This is
and
fantastic.
half the time people don't even do one.
Yeah.
Follow up magic, text, call, email, mail. Hey, mailers are not dead, by the way.
That's right.
How many people have actually gotten something in the mail other than a bill?
There's a reason why mail is still around.
That gets people's attention, dude.
Absolutely.
You send a package, someone has to sign for it. You spend a little extra money,
Mhm.
dude. I just signed for this thing. Let me tell you, there's some pretty savage like things you can do with
Yeah.
mail follow up.
Yeah.
That will really get people's attention. And it's like, wow, I haven't had a single one of your competitors even call me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They didn't even send an email.
It goes to all you're doing is you're emphasizing your level of genuineness.
Personal
right?
visit is number 5.
Yeah.
I mean, just show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Show up.
Yeah. And care. Show up and care. Continue to be real.
The 10th and final one.
Yeah. Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Finishing strong.
Good call.
Decision phenomenon.
Yeah.
The buyer decides to take action before he or she agrees to take action.
Mm.
Okay. The buyer has already decided before they agree, like
Yeah,
verbally, right? They've made the decision. And B, the buyer has reasons for closing that you aren't even aware of.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Dude, the unspoken objection. Dude. So I think we're going to talk about objections next week. And so
That's a
will
good
be
one.
a huge heavy
Yeah.
hitter. Beth, are there any questions in the chat, by the way? Like, hey, if this is valuable for you guys,
Yeah.
I would love for you to say yes in the chat right now, because we're pouring out our hearts. I'm just like, we're preaching over here. I hope this is valuable. So just hit yes in the comments. I'd love to hear that. Beth, are there any questions?
Yeah, why don't we just hit just a couple and then wrap up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I know we're kind of over our time here.
Yeah, but what are some practical steps I can take to go from where I am to my potential, which is something you talked about really early on?
Ooh, I like that. So where I am, it really just depends on where you are, right?
Just like starting steps, I guess, is what they're asking for.
Yes. So we got an online course called Start to Grow, and it literally teaches you how to start, manage, and grow your CPR business. So for this particular audience, I think that would probably be the perfect place to start. It's like $300, $297, I think, is the price. And it literally shows you how to set up your LLC, set up your banking, set up every single thing in the start portion of your business. Oh, and by the way, we show you how to avoid the pitfalls that we did. All right. We show you how to go to the U.S. trademark and patent offices and actually, do the search, because I didn't.
Wow.
I hired a service to do it. And guess what? They didn't.
Right.
And so even when you hire someone to do it, sometimes they don't fulfill their end of the bargain.
Mhm.
And so guess what happened? We got hit with the cease and desist letter within less than was it 30 days? I mean, it was like within
It
that
was
month.
really quick.
And so all I could do with Beth is give her a high five. I was like, dude, you're obviously doing something in marketing right.
Right.
I mean, someone heard about us.
They noticed you. They know who you
Right.
are.
Out of obscurity.
Yeah.
Out of obscurity. So I
Yeah,
just gave her a high
exactly.
five, and my next call was to a lawyer. I was like, help. So
Yeah.
like that's part of what next steps this particular
Yeah.
online course does is it helps you avoid those types of pitfalls of how to start your business.
Mhm.
And then we talk about how to manage it. We go into the CRM like HubSpot. We talk about follow-up stuff.
That's great.
I mean, we go through all that, and then we show you how to grow.
Yeah.
And we talk about 4 things. We call it SOMA, SOMA, sales, operations, marketing, administration.
Love that.
SOMA. And actually, let me make sure there's a deeper meaning there. I want to make sure I'm telling you correct. All right. I love deeper meanings. I love definitions too. So SOMA,
Sales, operations,
marketing,
and
administration.
administration. That's fantastic. So while you're looking that up, I'll also answer this if that's okay.
Yeah. Go for it.
So to where you are, to where you want to be, I'll give out a bunch of resources and books. A book that comes to mind immediately is the 5 F's. So look up the 5 F's: faith, family, friends. Actually, I have 6 F's. I added it. It's faith, family, friends.
Wait, what's the 6 F's?
Yeah. Faith, family, friends, fun, fitness, and finance.
Okay.
And so basically the 5 F's help you understand where you are and calibrate and gauge so that you understand how to get to the next level with those. For me, it's the 6 things, right? But in the book, it's 5. So definitely check out the book, 5 F's. Avoid paralysis by analysis, right? Oftentimes you can get caught up in what are my priorities? What are my commitments? What are my, how do I cut things out? How do I get from, and you could plan. And what's really sad is that for a lot of people, it's all theory until it comes real. You never were able to execute against it. So what I would give to whoever the questioner is really keep it simple, really, really, truly. Where are you today? Look at your finances. Where are you tomorrow? Look at your finances. What did you do? What could you do different? And really just take it step by step. That's really something that was really important to me that I thought was impactful. I got caught up in comparing. I got caught up in, and so to understand that you are not comparing yourself to others, much like we spoke about earlier, you're comparing yourself to the industry. Okay, so now that you know that that's the gauge, well, how do we get there? And just keep it simple for sure.
I love it. SOMA, the definition is in biology. Oops, there we go. All the living matter of an animal or a plant except the reproductive or germ. So, okay, so basically SOMA is all the parts of a business.
Wow.
Except for the visionary.
That's fantastic.
All right. Because every business has to have a visionary.
It's so cool that you guys are providing something where people can literally start from nothing and have a viable business. And not only just a viable business, let's have a viable business that's making a genuine impact. There's not many other organizations, at least that I personally am aware of, that I have this personal connection like I do with you, Captain Kirk, that makes such an amazing impact while still being able to provide resources and tools that others can benefit from too. Just what you guys have here at Rescue Site is just absolutely phenomenal. So back to the person who's asking, hit up Rescue Site. Start with Rescue Site. These guys are phenomenal. The love and compassion that this couple has is fantastic. So you want to know how to get from 0 to hero, give them a call.
Love it, dude. Hey, listen, I know we're probably we're literally a half hour over. So David,
it was so good.
I appreciate you.
It was so good.
David, by the way, is our producer.
Hit the button.
Hit the button for us. Hit the button.
David.
There it is.
Thank you, David.
Love it. Hey, a couple announcements before we let you roll. The announcement is next week, and for every week to follow, Rescue Owners Live will be on Mondays, every Monday at 8 p.m. All right. So the reason we started today, twofold. Monday was a holiday.
That's right.
No one would have showed. I wanted to have showed. So first of all, it was a holiday, but second of all, we start on June 1st. What a great place to kick off, because June 1st through 7th is each year is National CPR and AD Awareness Week. Again, spotlighting how lives can be saved if more Americans know CPR and how to use and AED. So part of this, we're going to be, first episode is starting off the week. Second episode is literally finishing off that week.
Wow.
But this podcast show, whatever we want to call it, Rescue Owners Live, is all about, helping you become more professional. What's the word I'm looking for, Beth? Personal, professional, and financial. Right. Those are the things we want to help out with every single CPR instructor, safety instructor, whatever we want to call them. Right. And then we also want to make sure we help you grow your business more effectively, efficiently, and profitably. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Kirk with a rescue site. You are here live with a Will.
That's right.
And we're looking forward to seeing you next week.
Good night, everyone. Nice.
That was awesome, dude.
For the inaugural.
I love it. Thanks to all.
Fantastic.
Well, I appreciate you being flexible with the time. That was fun, dude.